that successful in her field. She's
I don't think that you can say that Serena Williams, when you compare against all of history and men and women, I don't think that there is, at least athletically, if we're talking athletically, she can't be considered a top 10 athlete of all time. We can list 10 athletes right now that are all going to be better than her. If you want to talk about her as like the quality of athlete that she is, like how successful she is, then yes, you can say she's a great athlete.
Okay, well, is that not what the conversation was? Or that's what I took the conversation.
Well, I took that as, where does Serena rank athletically all time? And I was like, well, she can't compete with like a Michael Jordan or a Muhammad Ali or a LeBron James or a Usain Bolt or a Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, well, maybe.
I mean, and Lamar, but I don't think they would have meant it in the sense of like who can jump higher and run faster, like that kind of athleticism. I think they just mean.
Well, I mean, if you're going to say head to head, Serena Williams, she dominates all of history in women's tennis.
Yeah, which is why she would be in the top 25 at least.
I don't think you can say that she would be a regular. I mean, she wouldn't regularly compete for titles in men's tennis. Even just in this day and age.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I wouldn't put it. Like, I'd consider her so successful within her field, kind of thing. The gender thing wouldn't make a difference to me. I'm not saying she could beat men or all men, but because she's so successful in the competitors that she comes up against, which she doesn't choose, she just has to play other women, that you would class her as a successful athlete. Isn't that right?
It's a tricky one. That's why you can't really have these conversations. You can't really make these comparisons.
No.
I think you have to keep them segmented.
Yeah.
If you wanted to have a conversation with me about, is Serena one of the greatest female athletes of all time, I'd say she's as close to the greatest that we're going to see.
She is pretty phenomenal.
Like, think of another female athlete that's just dominated for, I mean, what, maybe over a decade?
I mean, I'll be honest, there isn't that much female sport that I watch. So
that's fair. But like the only other people, like Diana Taurasi from the WNBA. I don't know that there's just a dominant soccer player, at least that I can think of.
Not that she just popped into my head. Didn't the USA have an amazing female goalkeeper for a while?
Goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Oh, Hope Solo.
Yeah.
Hope Solo's a nutcase. She's a nut job.
Why? What happened?
She got accused of domestic assault. She apparently battered her sister and her sister's son, I think.
Wow.
And ended up getting in all kinds of trouble for that. But I don't know that it ever actually, like, if there was ever actually like a charge. I don't know if she was ever really in trouble for it.
Oh, okay.
But then she started like talking all kinds of smack about USA soccer. And that got her into all kinds of trouble. And like, even whenever so America just won, along with Canada and Mexico, they just won the bid to host the 2026 World Cup.
Yep.
And she was like publicly coming out and was like, USA shouldn't win. We don't deserve it. And she was I think she tried to win. She was trying to be elected as like the head of US soccer or women's soccer, something like that. And she was not very successful. She's not very highly thought of anymore.
I don't like it.
And she was good, but I think a lot of people, she got a lot of attention because she's also quite attractive.
Yes, that is the overwhelming thing I remember about her, if I'm honest. I don't think I ever actually saw her play.
Yeah. I mean, I think she won the World Cup with them though. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? We haven't spoken in a long time.
Yeah. Have we spoken since your competition?
We haven't spoken since before you went to Gran Canaria?
Yes, we have.
I don't think so. Oh no, we have, because I think the last episode was like Vacation Blues or something. So it was right after you got back.
Yeah.
But no, we haven't spoken since my competition.
How did that go? How do you feel about it?
Middling results. Well, we can say that.
Okay, sure.
So I had 3 fights. One was a no-gi fight, so without the pajama stuff.
Sure.
And 2 were gi, so with pajamas.
What is the difference? Why do they even make that distinction? Is it
Well, no-gi is effectively like real-world self-defense kind of stuff. Because with the gi, when you're wearing the gi, there's a lot of grips to hold on to. So like you can hold the collars, sleeves, you can hold the pants, and it's like a really thick, sturdy material. So it's not going to rip or stretch or anything. So you're expected to hold on it and pull on it.
Yeah.
But in gi, the thing that stops it being like quite so real world is that, I mean, you can like choke people out with the gi.
Nice.
So you can like, in some instances, you can like wrap it around people's throat and pull, or you can trap people's arms in it, all kinds of stuff.
So what belt are you coming up for next? So
I'm currently a white belt, and at the time of my competition, so I think there's 4 stripes so you start out as just a plain white belt, and then as time goes by and you improve and you get better, you get stripes. And there are 4 stripes you need, and then the next promotion that you get is a blue belt, and then you go through the same thing. I think it's 4 stripes purple, 4 stripes brown, 4 stripes black, and then black is as high as you go. I mean, I think like the creators, like the Gracies of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I say the creators, kind of the people that commercialized it. They have a red belt for one of them, I think, but I don't know that it really means
all that much.
I don't know that it's all that recognized, if that makes sense. So at the time of my competition, I was a 1-stripe white belt.
You are now?
I've recently been promoted. A couple of weeks ago, I got promoted, and I'm now a 3-stripe white belt. So I'm knocking on the door almost of being a blue belt.
What happened to 2 stripes?
I got 2 stripes at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Because they hadn't done any promotions in a while, and they were saying that it was overdue. So.
Oh. Okay.
But no-gi doesn't have a belt. It doesn't classify with belts at all. So you've either been doing it, you're either a complete novice and you've been doing it for under 6 months, you're a beginner, you've been doing it for 6 months to a year and a half or something like that. And it goes up at like how long you've been practicing for.
Oh, okay.
And then it's all segmented by and separated by your gender, weight, age, and class when you get to gi. So my no-gi fight, and I'll put all of these videos up on.
You want to put all of them up?
I mean, I don't see why not. I'm not ashamed of any of them.
Should be.
Gosh. I'll put all 3 fights on the YouTube channel. So all 9 of our subscribers that we have now.
We have 9?
We have 9 subscribers. Yeah. So that's why you need to keep sharing it.
I have not shared it.
I know, you need to tell people over there, because then people will pay attention and we'll get more subscribers, and then more views, and then we'll have adverts, and then we'll get paid and we'll be millionaires.
Like the people that I have been, like if I have mentioned it to a friend, like I think Ed asked, we were all out last night and we were getting drinks. And I think Ed was like, so you haven't done one of those lately, have you? I was like, no. And everyone was like, what do you mean one of those? It's like, well, me and my brother want to start a podcast. And they were all like, why would you do that? Like, it's just not I don't know. I don't think it's an English thing to just think that I would be interesting enough to listen to for 45 minutes.
I don't understand why, but those are the people, then they don't need to listen. I know I sit with 3 people in my team, just in my team at work, and that's including me, who, I mean, they listen to music, but during the day they'll have headphones in and they're listening to podcasts. Somebody was telling me yesterday, I went to go see him and I was telling him that we have a podcast, and he was telling me that he listens to a podcast, and the podcast is called The Worst Idea in History, maybe. And I was like, and what is the premise of it? And he said, well, It's two friends who say that for 1 year they will watch the same movie every week, and they will record a 30-minute podcast at the end of it and give like a 30-minute review of a movie that they've seen.
That sounds dreadful.
I imagine that it's pretty limited in content, but he says, I've been listening to it for 3 years. So he said, yeah. And so they started out, he said they do sequels to movies because he says sequels are like better to criticize or something. So they've done like Sex in the City 2.
Oh, God.
What's the one with Adam Sandler and Chris Rock?
Oh, Grown Up.
Grown Ups.
Grown Up, that's
Grown Ups 2.
Grown Up is terrible. Grown Up
I can't remember the other one. But he said, yeah, like I've been listening to it. And they start and finish every single podcast with, don't watch this movie.
I don't know what it is. Like, that's a really common thing. Like, people go to conventions to watch bad movies.
Yeah, that's true. Two girls that I work with listen to a podcast. I think it's two women that do it. And the podcast is called Guys We've Fucked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope their mums subscribe to that.
What?
I hope their mums don't subscribe to that.
I think they're the actual broadcasters. That's why they're such avid listeners. Sorry about it. So, yeah.
All right.
So there's enough people in the world. If there's 7.5 billion people in the world, I think we could find 10,000 that want to live in the world that care about our life, that care about, oh, Ben got his ass beat in a jiu-jitsu competition, or James fell down the stairs after he passed one of 19 exams.
That's what I'm going to do when I pass the 19th.
Imagine. So yeah, so it might seem small and humble now.
Like, I wouldn't mind sharing it to strangers, but I wouldn't like share it on my Facebook page or.
Well, then how are you going to share it?
I don't know. Like, can you like just post stuff like that on Reddit and just like, here, strange people of the internet, watch this.
Good point. Oh, we could do that actually.
Like, I'd rather post it to strangers than have people come up to me in the office and be like, I watched it and you're really boring and a bit then.
Well, that's fine. Then then don't watch it. But then the other people that do come up and be like, oh, hey, I watched your podcast and I have to tell, this is what happens to me now. I did watch it and something happened in the bathroom that I needed to talk about. Speaking of which, okay. So.
How much stuff goes on in your bathroom?
So this one was my fault. This may have been a faux pas. Well, no, not may have been. This 100% is a faux pas on my part. And I'm going to announce this on the internet, and I'm going to get some backlash for it. I already know.
What did you do?
So, remember how we've talked about in the past how that we have two bathrooms on our floor?
Yeah, the good one and the bad one.
Yeah, there's one for pooping and one for just quick visits.
Yeah.
So I went to the one at the back, the nice one.
Okay.
And I go into the stall, and as I look in the stall, it was one of those situations where it looked like somebody had either not flushed properly or somebody had flushed and then had put something on top of the water. Because it just looked like clear water, but there was like toilet paper in there. But under the toilet paper, there was something in there. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I looked under there, and it was a pair of glasses.
Oh, Ben.
It was a pair of glasses. And I was like, I don't know how clean this water is at all.
Oh.
But those look like Ray-Bans.
Oh, no.
They look like Ray-Bans.
Pissy
So, in my mind, I was thinking, I'm okay with getting those
No.
if I flush first, because I don't know what's in there.
Did you flush someone's Ray-Bans?
If I flush and then fish, and then I just wash everything a lot, I think I'm okay with this.
Face.
So, I flushed the toilet.
Sure.
And it's been blocked for about a week. So, So the thing that's bad about this is that I don't think people would care at all. And I'm assuming that this is I'm the reason why it's blocked. It could be something else. It's likely that I'm the reason.
More than likely your fault.
It's more, yeah. It's pretty positive. But I used it after they disappeared down the pipe, and I didn't have any problems with it flushing afterwards. But now there is a problem. So I think something may have gotten lodged up against them in the pipe, perhaps.
Oh no.
So I don't think it would be an issue. I don't think I'd get any backlash from coworkers or friends who watch this had it happened in the crappy bathroom. But the fact that it happened in the one that you go to Tuesday in, I've now limited the resources in there to basically one useful toilet.
Okay. I have a question and a point. So my question is, who drops their glasses in the toilet and doesn't notice that they've dropped their glasses in the toilet?
They had to notice, but they just had to have been like, well.
They can't have been real Ray-Bans, because no one would look at Ray-Bans, or they have way too much money to be like, I'm not getting those.
Maybe.
And my other point,
or it could have been that somebody was like, oh no, I've dropped my Ray-Bans. Let me go put all this stuff down and I'll come back and fish them out. And they like laid toilet paper over them to like hide them.
And in the meantime,
I just went and flushed their $200 glasses down the toilet.
Yeah, what happens now if someone in the office that you think is your friend and like signs up to listen to the podcast is like, those are you owe me $200 worth of glasses. You flushed my glasses.
It's a good point.
This is a bad thing to admit on your part.
I'm probably not going to pay it though.
Wait, which floor was yours on? The fourth? No, I'm talking about the third floor.
No. Different floor altogether.
A lot of Ray-Ban dropping that day.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
So that was my fault. Did I even finish talking about my competition?
You said that there was gi and no gi.
Yeah. Okay. So let me summarize really fast. So my first fight was no gi.
It was no good, is what it was. Hello.
And so I got there kind of early because I wanted to see other people. I have friends that I train with and whatever, and I wanted to see them fight and do all their stuff. So we kind of hung out as a team. There was a lot of people there. We probably had like 12 people there from different gyms that all train under the same person. So it was pretty cool. And so I had told people at work that this was going on, and I was talking. I mean, you know me. I was talking smack, and I was like, "Oh, if I win this competition, don't anybody tell me anything. You're not going to be able to tell me anything."
Yeah.
And so they found out. They asked me where it was, and I was like, "Oh, it's over here." Blah 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 blah. And they came.
Nice.
So I had one guy and his wife from work who drove for over an hour to get there.
Is he a good friend, or does he really hate you and wanting to see you lose?
Both.
Cool. That's the best kind of friend.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, he came to support me. Like, if I'd gotten hurt, he would have been there and he would have like helped out. But he was like content that I was getting beaten up.
Yeah.
So he and his wife came, and then one other girl on our team, she came, and she was like, "I'm broadcasting this." She's the one who did all the recording.
Oh, nice. So she's not your friend anymore then.
We're still good. And then Nicole came.
Okay.
So the first fight, I get ready. First of all, they're like a million hours behind schedule. Supposed to go on I think I was supposed to go on at 3:30. I didn't start until like, I would say 4:45, something like that. Like, it was we were like way off schedule. So I warmed up right around the time that I should have gone on, and then by the time I actually got on, I was not warm anymore.
You warmed up at the wrong time. I'm gonna just stop talking to you.
Huh?
You're about to make an excuse for why you lost. I'm just gonna stop talking to you.
No, it's not an excuse, because it didn't. It was just, I was saying that it was just kind of poorly organized. It didn't affect the way I performed at all.
Okay.
But so the first fight was no gi, and it was 4 minutes. So whenever we roll in the gym, whenever we spar at the gym, we do 5-minute rolls. Mm-hmm. In competition, it was only 4-minute rolls. So in theory, cardio-wise, I should have been pretty good.
Yeah.
In actuality, no, I was shagged. by the end of it, I was absolutely exhausted. And so it was about, we got down to the ground pretty quick. I went down, I dropped down. I didn't want to get taken down because you lose points, or they get points for takedowns. So, but if you just kind of approach them on the ground, it's nothing. So I went down, and he was trying to pass my guard, which basically just means he's trying to get past my legs.
Sure.
And I mean, I'll put the videos up so everyone can see. So it was him like trying to wrestle past my legs and get out of being in my legs and whatnot for a little while. And then I ended up on, I think I got in his guard. I ended up on top of him. So I'm like between his legs with my hands on his stomach, trying to like stay straight, and I tried to get out for a little while. And then we both ended up back on our feet, and I tried to do something stupid. And as I tried to do it, I ended up back on the ground again. And I was so tired at this point that he got by my legs and he got side control. And so being in side control gets you 2 points. And he got those 2 points with 8 seconds left in the fight. Yeah. And whenever I spoke to my coach about it afterwards, he was like, if you just held out, it was scoreless. It was like 0-0, but the referee gives advantages for like submission attempts that are close, but they're not going to win anything, like that kind of stuff. He's like, you would have won based on advantages or by referee's decision if you'd have held out for 8 more seconds. So I was like, wow, damn it. So yeah, I was pretty pissed off with myself for that. I just kind of
thing though, I guess.
Huh?
That's just an experience thing though.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first competition, first fight. I was going to a complete stranger, and it's rare for me to be able to do it against somebody my size. I mean, he's probably maybe 6'3", but he was bigger than me. But there's not a lot of people, at least that I roll against. There's nobody my size that does it. So it's just a little bit different. But he and I were the only two in the division, so he won gold and I won silver. So I came last and second at the same time.
Not bad there.
Yeah, so I got a medal. So then I kind of licked my wounds and whatever. And then about an hour later, I did my gi match. And I felt a lot better doing gi. I do a lot more gi.
Wait, so that was your first fight?
Yeah.
I thought you said your first fight was much shorter than that.
No, so gi was my second fight. I did 2 gi fights.
Oh.
Yeah, the first fight, no gi went the full 4 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So the second fight was gi, and I feel much more confident in gi. There's a lot more to hold on to. And it's a lot easier to control people. It's easier to manipulate stuff, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I do a lot more gi than I do no gi.
Sure.
And so I walked out onto the mat, and my coach was like, "You feel good?" I was like, I kind of like winked at him, and was like, "I got this." And the guy that came out was, I want to say he was my height, maybe an inch shorter, but like similar build, like very tall, very long.
Weedy.
Huh?
Weedy.
Weedy. Sure. Shut up.
We're talking about that. That's cool. Yes. See you in a while. See you later. Sorry.
No problem. Bye, Dad. Love you.
Love you, Dad.
And so I was, in my mind, and this was still inexperienced, in my mind I was like, all right, I'm just going to like play around and like try and grab stuff and whatever. And he immediately just grabbed me. There was no like fakes, no like I'm going to do this and like misdirection. There was nothing. It was just like he grabbed hold of me. He put his foot on my hip while he was standing and he fell back. And as he fell back, I go up into the air and he like moves me over onto the mat and he grabs way up inside my collar and then like spins around. So my collar's right here and his forearm is on this side of my neck. And then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna bust out of this. And in about 4.5 seconds. Have you ever been to the movies at the end of a movie when the screen narrows down into this tiny little dot?
Yeah.
That was what was going on with my eyes.
Wow. Fast.
Huh?
That's fast.
It was really fast. Everything was starting to go really dark, and I started to tap. And it was like this.
Okay.
Like a real hard first one was like, get me out. And then I was like, oh no.
Oh, shit.
And so I lost, and that was like, it took him, I think the fight was like maybe 40 seconds. It was fast. Didn't last long at all.
Not good.
Yeah, and I had walked onto the mat. I was like, I got this. And I walked off the mat. I was like, I'm never doing this again. And so, so, so I was at this point. I was like, all right, I think I'm done. Like that was it. There was only, I think there was 4 people in our division. I was like, that's whoever's next goes to the final. Like I'm not going to be fighting for third or whatever. As it turns out, 5 minutes after I was almost unconscious on the floor, they're like, you've actually got one more fight. I was like, oh god. Well, it was against the exact same guy that I had my no-gi fight against that beat me with 8 seconds left. But we were in gi this time. And so this one, I was a little apprehensive because I just lost 2 in a row, which I didn't feel very good about for obvious reasons. But so this one went a lot better. So I pulled guard, and I ended up getting a sweep. Like I was on the ground with my legs wrapped around one of his legs. I grabbed the back of his heel, I grabbed the back of his other leg, and I pushed with my legs, and he just fell backwards. Like his legs didn't have anywhere to go, so he fell backwards. And as soon as he did that, I got up on top of him. And I ended up getting a ton of points because I got into side control. I got the sweep, which was 2. I got side control, which was 2. And then I got a mount, which was 4. So I was like 8 on. I think I was up like 9-2. I don't remember what the other point was for. I was up like 9-2 at one point. And I was in really good position. And my coach was like, Ben, you have like 1:30 left. You're up 9-2. Do whatever you want. And at that point, I got sweat. Like he kicked me off from being on top of him, and I was on my back, and he was kind of on top of me. And I grabbed hold of his arm and I pulled it into my chest. And I like, as he's standing, I'm on like kind of on the back of my neck or my shoulders, and I like kick a leg over his face, and I've got his arm. And as soon as that leg went over his face, I was like, I'm going to get him with an armbar. And I started pulling and squeezing it to try to get him to tap. And we both went to the ground, and I like face down on the ground, and all of a sudden I can feel his elbow start popping up against my abs, like up against my stomach. I can feel his elbow start popping. And then I feel him start tapping, and I was like, oh, wait, are you okay? But it was such a crazy. So the video, I like hop up after I get the tap, and I like rearrange everything, and I'm like, you can see it's so obvious. Like I'm trying to play it cool, but I was so excited. And then it's a cool feeling. Like you stand up next to the guy that you just fought, and the referee is in between the two of you, and he grabs your arm and like raises it. I'm like, yeah, bitches, that's right.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool feeling. And that one, so I won 3rd in the division in that one. So I got a bronze medal for that. So on the day, I ended up with a silver and a bronze, but I'm much happier with the bronze than I am with the silver. It was a cool feeling as well because I like dominated the guy who beat me with 8 seconds left. Like I dominated him the next time we fought. So it kind of felt good to redeem that. So.
Well, cool. I'm glad you had fun and didn't die. Those bonuses.
Yeah. It was cool to win by submission too. Points would have been fine, but the submission was really cool.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit manlier.
Yeah. So I've been doing Uber drives again recently.
Any good conversations? Pick up any hotties?
I've had some interesting. I did it last night. And I ended up picking this guy up. He was in Houston, and he ended up wanting to go kind of over towards where I went to school. Okay. So he wanted to go from like. He was kind of. I don't remember where I picked him up from. This is concerning. But I picked him up at like 12:45 in the middle of nowhere, and it was kind of like pretty rough looking area too, like these like real crappy apartments he came out of. And he had me driving. It was like a 24 mile ride, and I was like, oh. I was trying to get home, and I took it thinking that it was going to be a ride taking me home, and it was not. It was taking me the exact opposite direction. It was a 42-minute long ride for me to get to where he wanted to go. Yeah. But this kid the person whose name it was Elizabeth that ordered the Uber. And then this black kid gets in. He was like, I think he was 18, he said. And as soon as he gets in the car, I can smell weed. And I'm like,
oh. Nice.
Great. And so he gets in and he sat down for a while and he's like, hey, do you have a phone charger? I was like, hey, right here, whatever. He's like, mind if I smoke a cigarette in here? And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, he said this and I was like, I smell you. You're not smoking a cigarette. You think I'm an idiot? What are you talking? No. I was like, no, sorry, there's no smoking in here. So we get driving and this is a long drive. So I'm like, I don't want to just sit in silence for the next hour. So I was like, where are you headed to, man? Where are we going? Bear in mind, it's like 12:45 at night at this point.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, oh, my homeboy's having a party on the southwest side. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. You've got some good friends that want to order you an Uber for this. He's like, oh, no, it's like I had a gift card and blah, blah, blah. I was like, wait, so you said you're 18? He's like, yeah. I was like, are you leaving high school or are you about to be a senior? He's like, oh, I'm about to be a senior. I was like, oh, sweet. Do you have plans after that? He's like, yeah, I just can't wait to get the hell out of high school. I was like, oh, what's next? He's like, I want to go to college. I was like, oh yeah, do you have any ideas? He's like, yeah, I want to go to Florida. Like, that'd be a fun time. He's like, yeah, but I don't think I'll be able to afford it. Why do you want to go to Florida? He's like, I was like, yeah, Florida, it would be expensive because they would get you with like, if you go to a school outside of your home state, they charge you an out-state like tax almost as part of your tuition. I was like, yeah, Florida will be expensive because they get you for being an out-of-state student. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll just go to like Louisiana, like go to LSU or something. I was like, that would also be out of state. What are you doing, bro? Think about this. He's like, oh yeah, good point. He's like, maybe I'll just try to go like U of H or something, University of Houston. I was like, well, if you're trying to save money, like, do you play sports or are you like real smart or anything? Would you get a scholarship? He's like, yeah, I play football. I was like, you any good? You think you could get a scholarship? He's like, I don't go to practice. So, then what are we talking about? You playing football for? I mean, I'm good, but I mean, there's some stuff. And he told me later, he's like, there's some stuff. But I was like, well, what about junior college? He's like, what's that? I'm like,
I really feel like, so you said to him, maybe if you could get a scholarship, and you asked him, like, are you real smart? He'd already just admitted to you that he wasn't really aware that Louisiana was not in the same state, and you still felt the need to ask this dude.
Well, I didn't know if he was just an idiot or if he was like stoned already.
Geography's not his topic.
Maybe, but yeah. So then I was like, well, what about junior college? He's like, well, what's that? So James, whenever I say this is the equivalent of you being a GCSE student. This is the equivalent of being in year 11. And somebody saying, what's next? And you'd be like, well, I could go get a real job, or I could go to like sixth form, or I could go to college and get my A levels or something, or I could go get like it's like a BTech or something.
Yeah.
And then them saying, what's that?
Oh, okay.
Like, everybody knows what comes after year 11. Like, at least the options. Everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
So this kid was like, what's junior college? And I was like, oh, like if you just went and did 2 years at one of the local community colleges or one of the junior colleges or something, like San Jacinto. He's like, oh, yeah, that might be, yeah, I need to look into that.
Yeah, this dude's not going to college.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, or, I mean, if you're really thinking about it, if you're trying to make some money, you could go like join the army or join the Navy or something and do 4 years and then they'll pay for it at the end of it. He's like, yeah, I think I'll do that. You're not doing that, you freaking liar. What are you talking about?
At some point, you also have to remember that this guy might have been hoping that he was getting an Uber with a quiet driver. And at this point, he's just like, yeah, shut up, whatever, sure, why not? Okay, I'll join the army.
No, he wasn't that. He didn't have that about him. He wasn't that smart.
The guy that got in and smelled like weed didn't have I was hoping for a quiet ride vibe.
Well, no, because he also told me to turn Drake on the radio.
Oh, good choice there.
He told me to put Drake's new album on. And then he was like, hey, you know, like he would talk to me. He's like, you know this one? Yes, I know. I'm familiar with this one. Yes.
Have you not heard the new Drake album?
Yeah, I have.
Had now.
I like it. I've heard it multiple times now. Yeah, I like it. Oh, I also had one of the first times I did it again recently. I picked up this guy, and for some reason, it seems like a lot of women order Ubers for their men. Like men just don't know how to Uber. So I picked this guy up.
You kind of pick up and then being super disappointed every time it's a dude.
I know. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. There's no beautiful women catch Ubers either. I don't know what's going on. No. Oh, I've got a really good story. So the first time I did it, I picked this guy up, and I was like, "Hey man, what's going on? Where are we headed to?" And he's like, "I have no idea." He's like, "All right, okay." So I'll just follow the map. That's fine. So we're talking, and he used to play. He won a national championship playing football for Nick Saban. He was like, I don't know if do you know who Nick Saban is?
Name.
Huh?
I know. I've heard the name before.
So he's like arguably the greatest college football coach of all time.
Oh, okay.
Won a national championship with him. And now he's an orthopedic surgeon. And he was telling me, like, some people just spill their lives. So he's an orthopedic, I don't know if he's a surgeon, orthopedic doctor at one of the local hospitals. I was like, oh, so you spend your whole time putting broken bones back together? And he's like, yes, sir. I was like, that's crazy. That stuff is bizarre. I was like, I bet you've seen some crazy stuff. And he's like, yep. You want to hear some stuff? And I was like, yep. He's like, last week.
Doctors aren't supposed to say stuff like, you want to hear some stuff.
Yeah. He said, last week, a kid came in and I saw his brain. I was like, how? And he's like, he tried to shoot himself and had only taken off half of his head.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
you kill the mood, mate.
I know. I was like, oh, no, not yet. So I was like, so he's like, oh, he dead. He's dead. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. And I was like, man, that's got to be really difficult. Like, that's the kind of stuff I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, if that happens to somebody in your family, or even if you see that happen, like, let's say there was a car wreck and you see somebody on the side of the road and their brain is hanging out, that ruins a lot of people. Like, you see that and you're like, I can't go to work. I can't, like, people physically vomit at seeing that kind of stuff. Yeah. So if you see that kind of stuff in a kid, you don't go back to work that day. You might not even go back to work that month. Yeah. But people that see that in the hospital are like, all right, that was a patient and I have another one and I've got to go see them in 10 minutes. Like, you don't see, it's a weird situation. And he's like, yeah. And a lot of people, yeah, you have to be able to leave a lot of your personal stuff. He's like, me and my wife last year were expecting a baby and she miscarried. And it was really hard on us. It took a toll on us. But I was like, my thing is I just got to work through it. I can't be sat there stewing in my feelings about it. So I was like, I need to get back to work. So I took a day, and the next day I was in work. And then I'm in the emergency room, and this lady comes in, and she's given birth to a baby, but it's
stillborn.
No, it wasn't stillborn. I can't remember what it's called. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. They put the baby to sleep in the crib, and then when they woke up, or when they went to go check the baby wasn't moving, wasn't breathing, and they like rushed it to the ER, and they like gave it to this guy. I was like, please help my baby. And he's like, this baby's dead. Like, there's nothing I can do. This baby's dead.
Oh, man.
And 2 days before, his wife had just had a miscarriage, and he's like, I'm running down the halls of this hospital with a dead baby in my arms, and I am screaming, crying. I was like, all this conversation happened in the space of like a 12-minute car ride.
What is up with that? Why would you do that? That's not English either.
I'm just a really good Uber driver and people.
That's a really, like, British people wouldn't do that either.
That's true.
We have set topics that we talk to taxi drivers about.
All right, mate, been busy. Time you on till.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all we talk about.
So yeah, so then later on, so that wasn't even the craziest story that night. So later on, I'm just still driving around. I'm trying to find a ride that's headed back towards me, towards my house. And This will be the last story, and then we'll call it because it's getting to be a long one.
Right.
Then this lady pings me. So I like go over, I pick her up. Again, it's this like shady apartment complex, not nice place at all. I go over and she's in full subway get up, and I'm taking her. It's 11 o'clock at night, maybe even yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night. And I pick her up, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, almost seems like she's kind of strung out. She's like, hey, I'm doing good. Just going to work. Like, just kind of like almost half asleep, just kind of a world of her own. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I was like, how's everything going? You doing all right? Where are you going to work? Well, I didn't even know Subway was open this time. Just kind of like regular conversation. She's like, oh yeah, they open up over by the refineries because people will get off at like 3, 4 in the morning. They want to go get a sandwich or something before they head home. So, all right, I didn't know that. And then she starts talking about her family, and she's talking about her daughter, and she's like, she can tell that she's really proud of her daughter. She's like, yeah, she's smart, she's getting great grades, she has a really good GPA. She wants to go to college to be a pharmaceutical engineer. I was like, wow, you sound really. I was like, you sound really proud. That's awesome. She's like, yeah, my son was going the same way, but he's a fucking idiot. And I was like, why? What happened with your son? She's like, well, he just couldn't keep his pants on. I was like, okay.
Pineapples.
She's like, yeah, I told him, if you gotta fool around, just go down on her. I'm like,
oh no.
I'm like, you told your son this? And she's like, yeah, I didn't know what else to do. Tried everything else. Like, you should probably have tried several more things before you have this conversation with your son.
That is way down the list of things.
And then so she says, but now he got his girlfriend pregnant. He's 22, had his whole life ahead of him, could have gone to college, and now his girlfriend's pregnant and baby on the way. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, I know about that.
Great.
Yeah. But so I was like, well, I mean, I said, at least just 2 of them, at least one of them's got it figured out. She's like, no, I got 5 kids. And I was like, wait, how old are you? She's like, I'm 33. Ooh. And I was like, how old? And your youngest is what? She's like, 14. It's like, what? Just knocked 5 kids out, like one after another.
Not to sound hypocritical or anything, but maybe you should keep your pants on.
Hold on. So I was like, what? Where are the other ones? She's like, well, the other ones are just kind of doing the thing, like working. It's like, I mean, one of them got 40, and I'm like, what do you mean got 40? She's like, you know, like he's doing 40 to life. I was like,
wow.
I'm like, why?
I would pick this lady up every day. She sounds interesting.
So I was like, why is he doing 40 to life? And she's rummaging through her purse at this point. She's like, double homicide. I'm in the front seat of the car, like,
wow, that's so exciting, though. I mean, terrifying.
It was, yeah. Well, she wasn't going to kill anybody, but I was like, what in the hell? I was like, and I'm trying to be sympathetic at this point. I'm like, oh man,
I got 41, so that was the worst.
I was like, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, that can't have been easy. And she was like, yeah, I mean, I told him I'd pick him up, but his dumbass wanted to get caught up trying to help out a friend. So she's admitting to me that she was like trying to hide him from the law, basically. But he was like, no, my friend is here and I can't leave him. I was like, it sounds like he's a loyal kid though. Like, it couldn't have been easy for you to sit through a trial like that. She goes, trial? I was like, yeah, like, I mean, sitting through the trial, like hearing him get convicted and everything. She's like, I didn't go to his fucking trial. Oh. All right. Well, you have a good night. We're at Subway, so stay safe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy.
If you told me the other half of that story before you told me the going down advice, I'd be like, absolutely, that sounds like the kind of advice that this lady would give. Up until that point, she just sounded like a friendly lady that might work in Subway.
Oh, she was bizarre.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, those late night Uber rides are interesting to say the least.
You should have. It would have been really funny if she was like, I told him, if you want to fool around, just go down. You know, hey, sometimes we try that and it doesn't work. And it's not that fun. Now we have kids. Just got super defensive about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird people in the world, and they all ride Uber.
Well, it's good that you're letting them into your personal car.
I know. I've had the windows open in the back seat of my car overnight to try and get the weed smell out. I may have also been sat in the car, deeply inhaling.
On purpose?
Overnight. Just kidding, just kidding. All right. Anything new with you?
I mean, pretty much took up this whole podcast talking about your life.
All right, next week's your turn.
All right, good deal.
All right. Call it a day.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, please go like this video and subscribe and share it. James, you should probably also share it with some people that are strangers, or just put it on Facebook. All of the above.
We live near a train track.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Say you love me.
Huh?
Say you love me.
Oh.
Say you love me, James.
No.
Why?
Oh, I'm lying to you.
Oh, bye.